Good evening to everyone. Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? I think I will be speaking perhaps without the mic because leaning over, it's not working well. So good evening to everyone. I am so grateful that you're here with us to celebrate our Neighborhood Leadership Institute Spring Cohort 2021 graduation. The Neighborhood Leadership Institute, formerly known as the Neighborhood Leadership Series, has a rich history and legacy of enhancing the leadership capacity of our community leaders. And we are super excited to have 12 graduates who not only have survived the pandemic, but have survived 16 weeks of leadership building via Zoom. So we are very excited to celebrate our graduates tonight. Tonight is the first opportunity that they've had to meet one another in person. And for those of us who actually worked with them, it's the first time that many of us have met them in person as well. So we're very happy that you're here with us, friends and family, for such a wonderful occasion. As we move on with our program, which you should have in front of you at the table, feel free at any time to continue to enjoy the catering from On a Roll Catering, who's with us tonight. And at this time, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge several dignitaries that we have with us this evening. First, we do have Councilwoman Tina Vick here with us this evening. We have Councilman David Jenkins here with us. We also have Councilwoman Sharon Scott. And from our city manager's office, we have Assistant City Manager Bo Clayton with us this evening. Also from our city manager's office, we have both of our assistants to the city manager here with us. We have Owen Miller, and we also have David Freeman with us. And finally, we also have the Honorable Tynika L.D. Flight, who is with us this evening. And we are looking forward to her delivering our commencement address as well. And so thank you to city staff who are present. Also, we have members of the Citizens Advisory Committee for our Choice Neighborhoods Initiative. If you are here from CAC, if you could just wave at us, please. Good evening to you as well. And we also have former graduates of the Neighborhood Leadership Series with us as well. So please make sure that you wave at us as well, and thank you for being here with us. And at this time, I would like to ask you to join me in welcoming our graduates here with us as I get our pomp and circumstance going for us. Please make sure that you give them a round of applause as our graduates of the Neighborhood Leadership Institute Spring Cohort 2021 join us in the room. I know you all were surprised by the pomp and circumstance, right? This is officially graduation season, so we do want to make sure that we congratulate them properly. We do have a couple of our graduates who are either delayed in arriving or were unable to be with us here this evening. However, we do have Miss Janie Bazemore with us this evening. We have Mr. Jamal Gettings with us. Constance Griffin, Latasha Harris, and we have Glenda Knighton. We have Mr. Curtis Moody. We have Patricia Newman Ricks with us. Tanzi Perkins. And rounding out our squad that is present with us, we have Sharika McSwain Williams. And so as our graduates take their seats, I will let you know that missing from this class right now is Alethea Ashton, Jawan Moore, and Tamika Moore Yarborough. So again, give a round of applause to our graduates. Thank you, graduates. All right, at this time, we'll move along with our program, and I would like to invite Councilwoman Tina Vick to the podium to provide us with a few opening remarks.
Well, good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here, Ms. Sanithia, for this joyous occasion. I know all of you, as well as I do, can feel the energy, especially from that pomp and circumstance that we feel like it's graduation time again for us. But I truly appreciate this opportunity to give the opening remarks to the Neighborhood Leadership Institute cohort graduation, as we all are here learning, growing, and leading together. And that is an important and powerful subtitle: learning, growing, and leading together. And your togetherness, graduating class, has been short and sweet, or maybe to some, long and sour. Those 16 weeks of getting educated about leadership and community, about ideas and final decisions, about talking and listening, and about getting to know residents of the Marshall Ridley Place and getting to know more about Newport News. As the councilwoman for our city, I hope that all of you had an unforgettable experience, because the topics and information provided by NLI are very important to allow you to grow and to grow your knowledge base about leadership and to educate yourself about the neighbors, about our neighborhoods, about our communities, and to get to know where and how you choose to lead. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the program.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Vick, for giving us those opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite Sheila McAllister, who is the Director of the Planning Department for the City of Newport News, to the podium to provide an overview of the Neighborhood Leadership Institute.
Thank you, and it's so good to see all of you here today. So many faces that I recognize through the past leadership. It used to be series, but now it's institute. Okay. And the program actually began in 2017, and during that time, we have had a total of 5 series. We had 3 Neighborhood Series 1 and 2 Neighborhood Series 2. And what was required at the beginning is that if you completed Series 1, then you moved on to Series 2. And this program was really an engagement program through CNI. It was one of our community engagement tools that we used in order to educate and empower Ridley residents, specifically Ridley residents, because that's what was required of the grant, and also Marshall Ridley neighborhood residents. Because so many times people feel as though they don't have the power to actually participate in their own circumstances, participate in government, make a change in their community, and people do. And sometimes you just need those tools to understand how that can happen. And I'm hoping that everyone that's gone through this process understand that now, and they're willing to come out and participate and be a part of everything, because local government moves by its citizens. Its citizens, that's what helps us to make decisions. It helps us to understand what the community wants and what the community needs. And the only way we do that is if you participate. So this the entire institute is designed to teach you how to do that. And I know tonight that's what we're going to learn from the residents that are graduating here tonight, because as part of the institute, you end with the project. At least when you're in leadership, well, the institute now, but when you were in the Neighborhood Leadership Series 2, you had to end with the project. And that project helped you to either go on to do whatever it was that you wanted to do, or just to participate in some of the citizen groups, or even participate in some boards and commissions, at least apply to participate in some boards and commissions. So right now, what we have, or what we have had, we've had 48 residents that graduated from our Neighborhood Series 1, and we've had a total of 20 residents to graduate from our Leadership Series 2. And I know that Sunithia had asked you all to raise your hand if you participated in the graduations in the past, but I'd like for you to stand. I want to see you, because and many of the graduates that you see that stood up, they are now participating in the Citizen Advisory Committee. Some have moved on to some boards and commissions. So there are so many things that you can tap into upon graduation. And I know that you've also learned how to connect with some of those resources, because as part of your class, people came, they spoke to you, they told you how to do some of those things. So I'm just excited about the new graduates combining with the old graduates, and I'm just looking forward to what all you all are going to do in the future. So with no further ado, I think we need to move on. Well, I need to say first, congratulations, graduates.
Thank you, Sheila, so much for providing that overview for us, because I think it's important to understand how we get to today, that everything that we do has a starting point. Someone took the steps, someone showed up for the first Neighborhood Leadership Series, and so we want to definitely acknowledge those who have gone through the series as well as those who are graduating today. So again, thank you all so very much, and Sheila, thank you for providing us a wonderful context of how we got here today. Also, along those lines, this year, the Institute had a facilitator, an amazing facilitator for a couple of sessions by the name of Shemeka Ebony. Shemeka Ebony lives in the North Carolina area, and she sends her regrets that she could not be here with you all this evening. She was so disappointed, but she sent a video in lieu of being here, so I would like to play that for you at this time.
Peace and blessings, Shemeka Ebony here, co-founder of I Am Brilliant, and I am so excited to be here virtually with you all, celebrating about you all finishing the Neighborhood Leadership Institute. Back in March and April, we had a brilliant time together looking at more meaningfully and deeply what community leadership looks like, what it is, what it means for you, how you can show up authentically in your community leadership, as well as looking at pillars of community engagement that exist and what will work for you with the next steps you do. You all created some initiatives around designing a project or a program or a plan. I am so looking forward to hearing about what you all are able to do to transform the city of Newport News. You are what the city has been waiting on, and you are the change that your community needs to see. Congratulations again. Thank you so much for allowing I Am Brilliant to be a part of your journey. Shemeka Ebony here. Please look out. Connect anytime, whatever we can do. IamBrilliant.org. Remember, I am brilliant. You are too.
All right, so again, we also have Dr. Rhonda Thompson-Alexander, who was with you during the class, and she sends her regrets as well that she could not be here. Her schedule has just been very full, but she does send you hearty congratulations for completing your 16-week journey. So at this time, we want to transition into our program to talk about the project proposals that you all worked on as part of the Institute. As everyone takes a gasp as they think about coming up to the mic, to share, and they're going to do an amazing job. And so they have put a lot of time and effort into preparing project proposals for this evening. And so how we did this is with the 12, we broke them up into groups to work on projects, and they had the option of choosing to create a project that could fall into one of 4 categories. They could focus on an initiative that looked at community health and well-being, or youth engagement, education, or the faith community. They also had the option of doing a hybrid approach. If they wanted to bring multiple themes together, they could do that as well. So we do have 3 groups that were able to complete their project, and so we want them to share with you their project proposal this evening. So you will see here on the program that our first group that is scheduled to present is the 3 elites community leaders. And as you note on the program, we'll follow along because I will be assisting them in their presentation by being the slide person. And so, as I support them, please follow along in the program as we hear from the 3 elites community leaders. Then we'll have a brief break for personal reflections. Jawan Moore, we may have to move a little later into the program because he is stuck in traffic trying to get here from Norfolk. So we will move on with the Champions in Motion presentation, as well as Tanzi Perkins giving her personal reflections, and then we will wrap up project proposals with the group, The Quiet Storm. And so again, at this time, I would like to invite the 3 elites community leaders to the podium.
We got this. Good evening. I am not nervous. I will be out of breath. Okay. As she said, the name of our Neighborhood Leadership Institute group or team is the 3 elites community leaders. Our proposed project is a neighborhood pharmacy. Okay, so you all understand, don't you? You understand. I think 3 or 4 years ago, the only drugstore in the Southeast community closed its doors, and that left us a pharmacy desert. You've heard of food deserts. This is pretty much coined from that phrase of the pharmacy desert, which is defined as a community or neighborhood with no pharmacy within a half mile, okay? For those with limited vehicle access. Nearly 70% of Americans are on at least 1 prescription medication. Currently, people in the Southeast community that are on prescription medications must travel 5 to 6 miles in order to get a prescription filled. As you know, the closest stores are at Mercury Boulevard. So people with chronic illnesses face tough challenges. They sometimes decide that they're going to skip on their medication so that they don't have to make so many trips to the pharmacy. A bus trip to a pharmacy on Mercury Boulevard could take more than an hour by bus. That's just getting there. It's going to take you probably another hour to come back. It also requires you to change or transfer buses. We reached out to several drug companies, but in this area of COVID, we didn't get a lot of responses back. But we did get some information from Walgreens, and Walgreens was very helpful in providing us information and ideas, and they talked about what you call a small format store. So, excuse me, y'all, I'm just out of breath here. To bring this project to fruition, we would try to work with the appropriate city officials and departments, and we believe that with our new leadership skills and a little more effort, we can work together to return a pharmacy to the Southeast community. Because we learned, we grew, and we are going to lead together. I now introduce you to Ms. Williams for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. That was well done. Thank you. So you can see there is passion in having this pharmacy in the Southeast District. So we're going to go ahead and start. As you see the presentation here, the Southeast Neighborhood Pharmacy. We have Janae Bazemore, our community analyst, myself as a spokesperson and research analyst. We have our Elijah Williams. If you go ahead and stand up, that's our intern, our junior intern. That helped with the slides. And then we also have Ms. Constance, our community coordinator. So we thank you. We're going to go ahead to the slide, the next one. So here we have the Community Neighborhood Pharmacy Southeast. As Ms. Bazemore said, there is no local-based pharmacy in the Newport News area, so there is a need. Also, there is an inconvenience of the distance for us traveling outside of this area going to a pharmacy. As she said, there was no bus route that takes us further beyond in that area, something local, without extending their funds for bus ride and getting a ride and taking your vehicle and going outside the premises of your own neighborhood just to go to a pharmacy. She also mentioned about the health issues. The average person, as we did look up, when you get your prescription, we usually don't get it done in a timely manner because what? It's not in your neighborhood. So that's another health issue. And it prolongs the patient care, as she mentioned, about getting your medicine on a timely manner, okay? And then we have community frustration. So that, as you can hear, you hear the passion in her voice. You hear the passion and frustration of needing that pharmacy back into this community. And the estimated of miles, depending on where you locate it, is between 5 to 8 miles. And I actually drove around town myself to see how long it takes to get from one end to the other outside of this area. If I needed to get a pharmacy, it was pretty long. If we go ahead to the next one. If you look at this picture here, I want you to just take a moment and just look at it and tell me what you see in this picture. Don't be afraid, we're friends. We'll just go ahead and just say some words. What do you see in this picture? Anybody? You see a desert. What else do we see in this picture?
Wherever they're going, it's a long way.
It's a long way. Thank you. Anybody else? What else do you see? Don't be afraid. Anything else? Well, in this picture, you do see it's far away. We do see the desert, right? We do see the desert. But do we see anything on either side, left or to the right? There's nothing. We do see footsteps. So we do see a path that can be taken. So we do see the vision that there is a need. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next one. As you see here, this is where we're located. You see the Southeast District to the bottom. Upper, you see the north as well. As you see these red dots, these are active, open pharmacies. As you can see, I know where I live on the other side. I'm able to drive maybe less than a mile or two to a local pharmacy to get a prescription filled for whatever need. As you can see for the South District, there are no red dots. This is a real need. This is an urgency. This is our community. These are our people. We are in this together. Let's go to the next slide. As we see, we have some opportunities here. We can also do a storefront. This property is available for purchase. So these are some areas that we can look into. And there are some others as well. We do have Piggly Wiggly area. We do have a couple of open lease storefronts. We can also put one also inside of Piggly Wiggly. We can reopen the store that closed further down from Rite Aid. We can open up an actual drugstore. We can open up a storefront that's standalone by itself. And we can also reopen an old pizzeria store on Jefferson and turn that into a drive-through or inside storefront pharmacy. Next, please. So this is a win-win business opportunity. As you can see, there are extensive geographical trade areas in our area. So you know there are big businesses surrounding the city of Newport News. So the opportunity stands. We have low compensation and competitive in this area, so there is a need for a pharmacy that can be established in the Southeast District. The opportunity for a storefront for employment. So when you open that up, you are also bringing in employment back inside the community. The funds are going right back inside of your home area. Also, it would keep the cost down. And also, for convenience, depending on where it's located, you're able to go ahead and get your groceries while you go ahead and get your medicine. Correlative insurance plans based on your area of where you're living at, that will help out also if it's in-house in the local community. That will save on the insurance purposes. Growing and expanding and connecting in the community of the Southeast District is the plan for bringing back a pharmacy in the Southeast District. Next, please. Budget. So this is the money time, which we all like that part. But I can guarantee you this is a small chunk of change in the fiscal year that we can add this to the budget. So if we're looking at a storefront, if we're leasing, this is no more than $30,000, between $30,000 to $10,000 to $15,000. That's monthly. Payroll between $60,000 if we get connected to a couple of college students and colleges, and as they come in, we can have a program that will help also benefit for them and also the community. Also, we have an average in sales of $160,000 of having our own pharmacy in our area. And also you see the sales from bringing in $451,000, and the average GP would be $134. And it takes an estimated of 1 year to execute a Southeast neighborhood pharmacy. Next. So here we have a couple of prospects and we have a couple of investors that we're still talking to. We are still waiting to hear more information from Walgreens and a few other potential advisors. Next, please. So let's get a location icon back on the map for the Southeast District. Let's get that red dot back in, coming together as a community, leading with integrity and knowledge, and bringing hope back in the community with the pharmacy. So I want to say thank you for all, and have a good night.
Good evening. My name is Latasha, and I'm one of the members of Champions in Motion. And one of my other members walking up is Miss Glenda Knighton. Our third member, Juan Moore, isn't here at this time, so but he did help out with this presentation. Our group wanted to see what we could do to assist children in the Southeast community in the area of education. So what we came up, one of the things we want to highlight is that data all indicates that a direct response is required by schools and districts to support children, and support should include prevention as well as mitigation and treatment of the toxic stress and trauma. Many of the children in the community experience adverse childhood experiences, and those experiences can cause disruption in their neurodevelopment, increased social, emotional, and cognitive impairment, and a higher risk for the adoption of risky health behaviors in later in life. The most important thing that schools can put into place is a caring, safe environment that is supportive of and sensitive to students, allowing them to develop resiliency, self-confidence, and trust. We wanted to create a school-based tools and support to help children dealing with toxic stress caused by adverse childhood experiences, and also empower children to be able to handle their emotions throughout the school day. Go ahead. You can go to the next one.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jawan Moore. I'd like to apologize for my tardiness to start. As you can see here, Newsom Park enrollment numbers peak at the first and second grade. This is optimal student population for us to positively affect students' behavior and keep them in school. Students who are not proficient in reading by the end of third grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school than proficient readers. Lowering the elementary suspensions help us create positive learning foundations during the critical time frame where we are supposed to be fostering young children's learning. This is the chance for us just not to tell the kids what we want from them, but how to teach them how to behave. Next slide. This is the data on the number of offenses reported in years 2018 to 2019 school year for Newsom Park Elementary School in the Southeast community. Many of these offenses are due to students lacking the skills of self-regulation, impulse control, and focus, which negatively affects their behavior, ability to learn, and overall well-being. We wanted to create our program that will help teachers and students lower the number of offenses occurring in schools. We already know that suspending students causes more harm than good in the long run. How we discipline student offenses has a huge impact on student achievement. When students are suspended from school, it is really difficult for them to make up the learning time that they have missed. Suspensions in elementary school years can lead up to more suspension in middle and high school. A positive school environment is one that implement programs that focuses on prenatal measures and keeping kids in school. The goal of our proposal is to suggest a model that focuses proactively looking for problematic behaviors and acting to keep students in the classroom, focusing primarily on addressing the underlying issues that cause bad behavior in students rather than reactively punishing the behavior itself. The National Black Council of School Board members suggests that one critical tool that schools could use to assist with advertised childhood experience is to provide early interventions and social emotional learning and cultural proficiency. Early intervention helps children to process adversity and move them beyond.
So what we came up with is Yoga for Classrooms. It's a mindfulness program that promotes social, emotional, and physical wellness, learning readiness, and creates a positive school climate. The program can help teachers teach students self-awareness, strategies to slow and calm down, as well as manage their emotions through yoga postures, breathing exercises, and visualizations that can be done sitting in their seats or standing beside their desks. These critical life skills are essential to success at home, in school, and throughout life. These students learn these skills via the program in a developmentally appropriate and engaging way. Through this program, students will have an opportunity to have beneficial motor breaks throughout the day, to ease anxiety and tension, to enhance focus, concentration, comprehension, and memory, to have opportunities for reflection, patience, and insight, reducing impulsivity and reactivity, to engage in character-building activities that support social and emotional intelligence, to improve listening skills, to wake up their sluggish minds during the day, and creativity as needed. We also want to improve their confidence and self-esteem, and gain improved respect for oneself and others. Once implemented, Yoga for Classrooms is self-sustained as teachers continue to use the program with future groups of students, while the concepts are reinforced as students move up through the grades of the school. So, how much does it cost? Yoga for Classrooms is a low-cost program. Let's talk about the financial cost of implementation. The box sets cost between $22 and $32 each for each classroom, depending on the amount of sets purchased. There's also an opportunity for schools to provide in-service training by the Yoga for Classrooms team. The cost will be negotiated between the school administrators and Yoga for Classrooms. And I want to turn this over to Ms. Glenda.
Good evening. I was told that I had 3 minutes to make my case. So what I did was I took a whole pie and I condensed it into a slice of pie. So this will be a very quick presentation. And to begin with, as you can see, this pie shows that students of color make up 80% of the Newport News Public School student body. And this demographic shift has created a student education cultural differences in perceived rules, norms, and gestures that are transferred from home to school. Next slide, please. Why advocate for change? Educators also includes administrators that once taught in the classroom and those who directly influence children in any capacity. Culture proficient educators celebrate culture, language, and life experiences that build strong community and family partnerships. Culture responsive training also validates self-reflective behavior that focuses on child action, reaction versus adult actions, reactions. Next slide, please. The Community College of Baltimore County is offering a culture responsive teaching and training that focuses on infusing classrooms and institutions with culture relevant pedagogy. This training is for educators and others who work on culture responsive teaching and learning, and those who are interested in developing their own culture pedagogy. The areas of studies includes the meaning of culture and race, overcoming stereotypes, threats, culture and mindsets of intelligence, and social capital and caring. The cost is $125 for a full day of training, and more information can be found at the website listed below. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tanzi Perkins, and I want to share a little bit of my reflection of the class. I am grateful for this leadership program that I had not ever heard of before. My church has actually decided that our theme for this year is on assignment. And in February, I was kind of feeling like, what am I to do? How can I give back? How can I help? I mean, I have this education, but what do I need to do with it? You know, how can I give it back? So when I saw this program, I felt it was God sent, and I decided, okay, let's give it a try. So it's been an adventure. It's been great people I have met. I actually get to see the faces of the councilmen and women. I'm so grateful for that. I'm looking forward to literally connecting some kind of way. My passion is about the young people, okay? The mid-young people, like 11 to 17 or whatever the case may be, because I feel like that's a generation that is kind of like missing out with technology rising. We have the opportunity to reach the ones in the lower class, but sometimes I feel like that particular group is in a change, in a transition, and they just sometimes feel lost or don't know what they want to do. And I believe that I can be a catalyst, as well as my team members. So grateful for Jamal and Patricia in helping them in a way that would just be great, just absolutely great. So I was told by Miss Ebony that we have a voice and we are brilliant. And I believe what she said, we are brilliant and we can make a difference. And it's me again. This is my team. Okay, and so I'm going to try to do my best. But I'm going to read. Okay, let me know when you're ready. Hi, I'm Tanzi, and I'll be sharing with you the purpose of Project Defining Me Summer Coding Camp, along with the proposed partners. Next slide. Technology is incorporated in every industry, workforce, and in everyday living. Technology is here to stay, it's not going anywhere, and it's actually evolving very quickly. Our team has realized a need in the Southeast community to introduce a weekly summer camp with the hopes of expanding it to an after-school program in the school system and perhaps other areas of the community. Our focus group is currently males between the ages of 11 and 17 for reasons that Mr. Jamal will share later. And we will share how technology, mentorship, and passion can bring equitable training and skill sets to our youth. Next slide, please. Why a coding camp? Our goal is to provide an extension of STEM coupled with mentorship for our youth. According to Youth Government, or youth.gov, school-age children and the youth spend 80% of their time outside of school. Now, to enlighten young people in underserved areas of the possibilities in technology, because most of our kids just literally are end users. They have no idea how it works. The fact is, the earlier we introduce complex skills, the technology language, and how it works, the more creative the children can become. Besides, we live in an increasingly digitalized world, and young people are our future. So how can we reach our most impressionable population? Well, we can have neighborhood activities to provide a safe and supportive environment. The statistics show and have shown that these types of programs provide support for social, emotional, cognitive, and academic development while also reducing risky behaviors. We can collaborate with local universities to provide a mentorship program. And most of all, we can get involved in the community to greet and build relationships with the youth. For me, this is the most noble way I know of creating an atmosphere of trust and honor. Honor including having integrity, building courage, and taking action. The outcome from this camp will potentially be creativity, growth, and development of the youth, free from judgment, building a unique interest for the youth, positive impact on the youth, allowing for confidence to be reinforced by their success, a new type of friendship building, bridging the gap in the community even, mental stimulation and physical activity, reinforcement of independence and empowerment for the youth, instilling appreciation and gratitude, and also, of course, being fun and entertaining. Next slide. And so we have proposed that the East End area has a wealth of history and community establishments to work with. Some that we identify for partnership include and are not limited to Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab as a location for virtual and in-person collaboration, Hampton University School of Engineering and Technology, and NASA with their minor university research and education project, just to name a few. Now, at this time, I would turn it over to my partner, Jamil.
How y'all doing today? All right, so my community, I'm doing a part of the community lead or need. The third cause of the death in juveniles is suicide. 92% of gangs are males. 23% of children under the age of 18 only live with one parent. In Newport News, 72% of households in the Southeast District has single women as head of household. The community lead, our value streams are more than just technology. Resolution number 1, provide a program to keep young people engaged and safe during the summer. Resolution number 2, close the education gap between minority students within STEM courses. Using code.org. During the week, learners of all ages get into the introductory. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Thank you, Jamal. Thank you. You did great.
Keep going.
You can start going now. So, question. By a show of hands, how many of us either own a cell phone or we use a cell phone a day-to-day use? Majority. Thank you. How many times have you seen an app or you seen an ebook or a TikTok and say, I could have thought of that? Or, I did think of that. I should have gotten paid. My team wants to merge technology, equity, and mentorship into one. So we decided on a week-long coding camp. So with this coding camp and the free usage, free, City Lakes free, code.org. With this website, you have access to online tutorials, self-guided tutorials, as well for adults and youth. So therefore, we can teach our youth. So this week program will be for our young men. We're going to start there to just learn the basics of coding and how to develop a mobile app. Go on to the next slide. So that's the technology part. But what about the equity part? So if you all have not watched, I do encourage you to look at Coded Bias. It's a documentary that is on Netflix, and we know algorithms. And I know with COVID, Amazon knows what we want. And then it'll be on Facebook, and you're like, but that's what I want. How did it get over there? Well, there's algorithms that teach biases, or show biases, I should say. There's algorithms to say, this student is bad, this student is good, this neighborhood is good, this neighborhood is bad. There's algorithms to show, and as a teacher and an educator, you're not doing too well, so we're gonna put you lower, even though you're trying your hardest, right? Algorithms have no color, so how is that done? Well, it's through technology. So with the equity, we're gonna bridge with our young people to teach them that to bring equity into our daily lives, our community. Please watch the film, so there'll be a talk back with that. Also, following the video, we'll have an open discussion panel of students that are already in Hampton University and members of Boys and Girls Club of the Southeast and Girls Who Code. They have a program that's already in place just to talk about what do they do on a day-to-day basis at their after-school program. Hopefully we can have active participation for that week to get feedback on what the young men learned, how they will use resources for it later, and as well as what they thought about the film. Next slide, please. So what do? So this week-long program, we've created a mobile app. It could be on an educational, or we can help some of our small businesses that are in the area. So there'll be a prompt. The prompt is, if I created an app that represented my city, would it look like a walking tour of the Great Pearl Bailey? Would it be an app for people to shop or to put their dry cleaning orders in easier at New Royal Dry Cleaners? So just with our simple phones, our simple ideas we have can be so much greater. And if you can go to the next slide. We definitely want to give a shout out to Ms. McAllister and Dr. Newby for letting us enter into this neighborhood leadership. We definitely want to give you your flowers while we get to see you. Thank you again.
All right, can we give our groups another round of applause? Such amazing, amazing work. They have worked on this project proposals probably at least for the last six weeks, at least the last 6 weeks, and they charged ahead in researching, reaching out, having conversations, did the work that community leaders are supposed to do, because a lot of times we can see a need in the community, but we really have to get our arms around what that need really looks like and who do we need to partner with to be able to carry out meeting that need. So I want to applaud them for their hard work. There is an additional group that I do want to mention. They are unable to present tonight, but their focus was on community health and well-being and looking at how they could contribute to expanding the work that's already being done at the community garden that's at Zion Baptist Church. We have Uganda Sample Jones with us this evening, who has been working there in the garden for the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative for many years now. And we also have Renee Foster with us as well. And so this particular group, although they could not present tonight, have a vested interest in looking at food scarcity and healthy foods in our Southeast community. So although they could not present this evening, I charged each of them to make sure that they link up with you, Uganda, and I'm going to give you their names. To make sure that they link up with you and partner to figure out how they can join forces with what you're already doing there in the garden, and then explore other opportunities in the Southeast community to expand upon that work. So again, I do want to mention that group who did not present. That included Curtis Moody, who was here with us, and unfortunately Alethea Ashton and Tamika Moore Yarborough could not be here this evening. So thank you again to all of our groups for their work. All right, and as we move along with our program, I want to take this opportunity to introduce our speaker for the evening. I am super excited that we have the Honorable Tynika L.D. Flight, who is with us this evening. She is a circuit court judge for the 7th Judicial Circuit of Virginia. She's right here in Newport News, y'all, okay? But let me tell you a little bit about Judge Flight. She was appointed to the Newport News Circuit Court on April 1st of this year. She previously served as a judge for the Newport News General District Court from July 1, 2015 until March 31, 2021. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Judge Flight during her time where she worked in the Newport News Commonwealth's Attorney's Office as an assistant Commonwealth's Attorney before she was promoted to the position of Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney. And so during that time, she did amazing work with her team prosecuting the majority of the city's violent crimes here in Newport News. Prior to becoming a prosecutor, she practiced as an assistant public defender, but before her legal career ever began, she worked as a teacher and as a counselor for at-risk and special needs youth in the public and private sector. She served as an educator in the Baltimore City Detention Center and at the Pines Residential Treatment Center in Portsmouth, for Virginia. Currently, she is also an adjunct professor at William and Mary's Law School, and Judge Flife earned her undergraduate degree from the College of William and Mary and studied law at the T.C. Williams School of Law at the University of Richmond. So please join me in welcoming the Honorable Tynika L.D. Flife and also my very good friend to the podium.
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Newby, for such a generous introduction. I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here today. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yes. Not just for achieving what you've achieved for the 16 weeks, and I've looked at your curriculum, and it's intense. But congratulations for coming together and coming up with ideas and coming up with purpose and an execution plan to show some of the folks that are here, even at the table with me, how these things can be executed and implemented in our community, for the people who live here, for the children who grow up here, for people who want to be able to sit on porches and look out into their streets and know that they have a hand in what is happening to better each and every child. I love it, and I don't think that anything that I could say could have any touch at all any of the things that have been said by any of the other groups. I think that your ideas are amazing. I thank you for working together. Group work is always fun. We all know that group work does make the dream work, but it's always a challenge. And the fact that you all came together with those ideas is, I'm just in awe of it, and I'm completely in honor. I have the honor of being here today with you. It's clearly choking me up for words. So what I've prepared is something super simple. You all have gotten all of these skills during the course of this Leadership Institute. You have devoted your time and your energy. You have come from the community. You're already working in the community. I've heard people talk about what their service is. I know that someone talked about being an educator, which means you're already serving the community in your professional capacity, and you still took the time to come and be a part of this Leadership Institute because you wanted to take the neighborhood to the next step or figure out how you could give back. I am thanking you for that as a member of this community and someone that has children that live in this community and family that lives in the community and that I work here. So what do you do with all that you've learned during the 16 weeks? Now, I did look at the curriculum, some of the topics that you all have, and I know Dr. Newby very well, and I'm learning, Ms. McAllister over here, so I know it was intense and it was about business. Now it's about any other commencement address topic, which is, what do I do to move forward? How do I take everything that I've learned and everything that I have ingested, and how do I take these beautiful plans, and what do I do with all of it so that I can make sure that I put this theory into practice? I actually go ahead and bring into fruition these things. And for that, I want to take you all back to something that I think that we all know, and I think that it is something that we can all understand and relate to, me personally, which are rules that you learned in kindergarten. So I'm going to go over super simple things for you to remind yourself, not necessarily about all of the things that you learned, but just how do I take that forward? So the first rule, and if you would imagine a board in kindergarten, the first rule is be nice, right? That's it. It's not long, but it's super important. Be nice. You've already exhibited that by coming here and giving your time so that you could try and do something for your community. You are being nice to your fellow citizens just by giving your time. But being nice is something that we all need in leadership. So how do we make sure that now that we've become the leaders, that we don't take advantage of those that haven't learned these skills and haven't learned some of these things in the curriculum, and make sure that we're kind to them and we're welcoming to them so that we can share, build bigger armies so that these plans can get done. Being kind doesn't cost anything. It never costs anybody anything, but it always gets you so much further. I have learned so much from people just by smiling. And it's because I like to smile. I'm like Elf in that Christmas movie. Smiling's my favorite. So I encourage you to remember, in the midst of everything that you've already gotten, to number one, be nice. Number two, listen. There is no way that you all could have implemented the plans that you already have up here if you weren't listening to what your community needs already. I encourage you to continue that. Listen to the people who are beside you, to the people who've never heard the term food desert or now pharmacy desert, which I think is fantastic. Not that it happens, but that we know that it exists. Needing those red dots, and not just one, but many red dots below that line, so that people understand, what do I need just to survive on a regular basis? There are so many people who take for granted that I can go to CVS up the street, or I can walk down the corner to Walgreens. And there are people living every day with technology at their hands every day that don't have the ability to do that. So we have to continue to listen to our community. Listen to the people who are in pain. The program that talked about kids that are dealing with trauma, I love that. There are experiences that happen to kids when they are younger that make them seem, old school term, hard-headed, but they're many times traumatized. They haven't been listened to, and they haven't been heard. So what we do as leaders is make sure that our ears are open so that we can hear what they have to say, so that when we're implementing it, it's not our bright idea that we would have liked to have for ourselves when we were that age, but it's actually something that's gonna work for a student that's growing up right now in this day and age with things that we never had to deal with. Rule number 3 is care. One word, just care. Care after this program is over. Care that these plans don't just stay on the screen, but they actually get implemented. Care when somebody tells you no, to come back the next year and ask again, and the next year and ask again. Care enough to get a program in the school, even if it seems completely impossible, because there were things that were done for us that were completely impossible. As an African-American woman standing here before you with somebody that puts a title in front of my name that I couldn't have imagined for myself, the impossible is possible. And as she told you, you are brilliant. These ideas are brilliant. So care enough to push them through even when you hit walls. There are ways to take down walls. We all know that. The next rule is try. Thank you. Try hard. Rule number 4. That getting through the wall is going to require that you try hard. It's going to require that you know that sometimes it's not going to feel like you've made a difference. It's not going to feel like your plan is making a difference. It's not going to feel like a STEM program or a camp made a difference for that one child that keeps on acting out, or you see them out in the community anyway, doing things that you know they're not supposed to do. You have to try hard to make sure you see past whatever their pain is, that you see past what it is that they've gone through, that you see for them what they can't yet see for themselves, and you're willing to do it anyway. It's going to be hard. Try harder. Share. It is very easy for any of us to rise up in the ranks and then forget to share the information that we receive. It is not for you to be selfish with the new information that you have. It is not for you to keep it. It is not for you to hold it. You telling somebody else how to budget properly because you learned how to budget properly is not going to take money out of your pocket. Your money will stay in your pocket and you can put money in their pocket. So when you learn these lessons that help elevate you, please don't ever forget to share that information. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And because you've already done this and because you're already here, nobody else around you should have to reinvent that wheel. You've walked this path for them. We saw that in the desert picture. You've walked this path for them so that you can make it easier for them to follow in the footprints that you've left. Bring people along. Share every idea you can. It will never stop you from growing. It will only let you have company when you get to the top. So the last rule is a little different. Kindergarten rules need to not run with scissors and all of that. So the last rule is be safe. And what I've done to modify it for this Leadership Institute is that you be a safe space. So it is important that you listen, but it's also important that you remember that as a leader in the community, all eyes are on you. People are always watching what you do. They watch what you say. They watch what you post. If you destroy your witness by posting something that you felt in a moment needed to be said, and you cut off somebody that would have reached out to you, but now they feel offended or they're not sure that you're safe to come to, be a safe space, because that's going to encourage folks to come bring the things that you can listen to. You have the innovation to help their plans go forward. You're going to be able to share with them because they feel safe to come to you. But that is about not holding yourself up on a pedestal. It is just about making sure that you stay approachable, that you stay kind, that you stay open so that people feel like they can come to you, and that you try to live in a way that leads people in the right direction, even if they don't ever speak to you. I thank you so much for letting me come here, for letting me have an opportunity to get to know what these ideas are. I want to be a partner. I'm limited in some of the ways that I can, but I always am willing to be a resource. I am a part of this community, and I thank you so much for being bright lights in this community that are pushing things forward. Thank you and congratulations.
Judge Flight, you never ever disappoint. And so I thank you so much for such encouraging words, but they were also challenging words. I heard a call to action, which was to take what you've gleaned in 16 weeks and the wonderful project proposals that you put together and stay the course. Don't abandon camp now. And I thank you so much for giving tips and tools and strategies on how to do that. Because truly the work of being community leaders is not easy. I mean, many of you are in here, you're doing it. I don't need to tell you that. It has its challenging times. You can see the needs and your passion is so great. But sometimes the obstacles feel like they're so much greater. And so I thank you for giving a beacon of hope and light and keys to be able to take away for those, whether you are previous graduates and for the current graduates. So thank you again for being our special guest this evening. All right, it's award time. At this time, I'd like to invite Sheila McAllister to join me here as we prepare to give out some wonderful diplomas to our graduates, but before we do so, we have a couple of other acknowledgments we'd like to do first. All right, before we give out our awards to our graduates, we do have some of our facilitators and presenters in the room with us, and so we do want to take some time to be able to acknowledge those who were able to be here with us, that at some point during the 16 weeks that we were together, they came and shared their time and their expertise with the class. So we would like to, at this time, acknowledge Vice Mayor Sandra Cherry, who slid into the room back there, but we would like to present you with a certificate of participation for your time in the Institute. Also, during our time together, Councilwoman Sharon Scott came and spent time with us as well. So we had some guests that slid into the room, so we're gonna make sure that we get them out, and even if we don't get them in the prompt order for you, just make sure that you see Sheila before you leave to get your certificate, okay? And you can stand and smile and be pretty as we move on. We want to also take a moment to thank Owen Miller from the City Manager's Office. Owen came and hung out with us for a couple of sessions during our 16 weeks, and so we do have a certificate of participation for you as well. Also, we want to thank Councilwoman Tina Vick for being here with us tonight for our graduation ceremony. So we do have a certificate for you as well. Also, we want to thank Elizabeth McCory, who's in the back hanging out there. Elizabeth was one of our guest speakers for our entrepreneurship session that we did, so thank you so much for hanging out with us. Also, we have Assistant Fire Chief Wesley Rogers. And so we thank you so much for representing the fire department during our 16-week journey together, and also for sharing wisdom and insight and information with our class as well. We'll also have certificates of participation for Councilman David Jenkins. And we had a ball with Councilman Jenkins. I think Councilman Jenkins enjoyed us so much that he came and he hung out with us beyond the session where he presented, because he enjoyed himself so much. So he came back and he hung out with us again. So thank you so much to you, Councilman Jenkins, for being with us. We do have some others, and they are listed on the back of your program. You can see all of those persons who were facilitators and presenters during our time together. And also, we have Sheila McAllister, who was also our presenter on several occasions. And currently, Sheila is wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in certificates there at the table. And so I am sure that I will hear an earful after this ceremony is over. And so, but again, we wanted to thank all of our facilitators and our presenters. And please make sure you see myself or Sheila to get your certificates. And I would be remiss before we move on without also acknowledging again Uganda Sample Jones, who also was one of our presenters during the time that we were together. So isn't that amazing when you have a graduate who comes back to be able to share with those who are in the cohort now? So thank you so much for carving time out of your schedule to do that with us. All right, so with that being said, it is now time to acknowledge our graduates. Sheila, are we ready? When I call your name, please make sure that you come forward. And Sheila is going to present you with your diploma as a mark that you will have in your house henceforth, now and forevermore, that you will see wherever you choose to place it. And we chose to do something a little bit different with the awards this year, because one of the things that I think is important, well, two things that I think is important. I think that with anything that you start, there's got to be places of growth. there has to be an opportunity for growth, that we shouldn't always be doing things the same way all the time. So for those who've gone through the series previously, you know that the awards like this were not a part of the previous setting. And I am saying this because I am getting very wonderful looks in the room. I am saying this because body language and posture has changed in the room. I may or may not be in danger after this ceremony is over. However, as I said, in everything, we should be growing. We should not always be doing things the same way. But you know, the other benefit that we have, and this is something Uganda brought up when she came to the session, and she joked the graduates about this, was the fact that they had meals at every session. The previous Neighborhood Leadership Series, they ate well. And Uganda reminded them of that. She was like, woo, you all did this for 16 weeks and they didn't feed you? I said, Uganda, it sounds bad, but again, we have to make adjustments. And so in the midst of a pandemic, going through Zoom, again, we make adjustments and we grow. And so as we move forward, our desire is that as you walk through your home, wherever you choose to place your award, you will always be reminded of 16 weeks of your life that you made an investment in your leadership. Yes, it was free, but your time is a resource that you can never get back. And you made a powerful investment, and I want you to remember that every time you receive your, you see your award. So at this time, Janie Bazemore, please come forward. And you come here. And please make sure that you take a moment and allow our photographer to catch your picture. They're chatting.
Listen, we had a bargain, right?
Jamal Gettings. Yes, please.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Constance Griffin. Next, we have Latasha Harris. Next, we have Glenda Knighton. Mr. Curtis Moody. Next, we have Jawan Moore. Make sure you get your picture. You all are camera ready. Please make sure you get your picture. Next, we have Patricia Newman Ricks. Tanzi Perkins. No worries about the photographer. She's on her job. And finally, we have Sharika McSwain Williams. Again, can we give all of our graduates a round of applause? And as you prepare to take your seat, we will invite Sheila McAllister back to the podium to provide us with closing remarks. Thank you, graduates.
Take a minute to talk about Sheila. Can I have a quick minute?
Oh, sure. We have a special request. Come on, Miss Janie.
Thank you. Hey, guys, I just lied to her. I asked her for a quick minute to talk about Sheila, but I want to talk about Sanithia Newby. This energetic woman did an outstanding job. I wish I had thought to bring the roses, but she did a great job. And I think she kept our attention for this 16 weeks. So I just want to say thank you to you. She's one of my classmates' daughter. So she's kind of like my daughter too. But thank you so much for all you did. Thank you.
Thank you all. Miss Janie, you got me. So I'm guessing that the class made you the spokesperson because they knew I was not going to tell you no because you are like a mother. And I don't play any games with Miss Janie, not ever. So thank you all very much. It was my pleasure to serve you. So now, Sheila, please.
And I am definitely just taking her lead, that's all. Sanithia has been a wonderful, wonderful person to work with. Unfortunately, she's been stolen away from me. You know, the person sitting up here in this front table decided that we didn't need her, that she was needed on the 10th floor. So it's unfortunate, but I forgive him, and I forgive Sanithia since she is still with the City of Newport News, and she's still working with CNI. But it's been wonderful. Oh, and I'd just like to, again, congratulate the graduates. Remember what you heard here about the rules. Be nice, listen, care, try hard, share, and create that safe place. Thank you all for giving of your time through the Leadership Institute. Tell other people about it so we can have a full class as soon as I replace Sanithia.